In Sterling Heights, young people at Jamming with Jesus Catholic Academy are growing in more than just knowledge. They're building faith, character, and community. Inspired by the life of St. Carlo Acutis, this vibrant youth group is nurturing Christian values while spreading joy to everyone around them today. And we're honored to host Jamming with Jesus Catholic Academy and highlight the meaningful work happening within the youth ministry. Joining us is gifted youth minister Mike Novak, along with two outstanding members, Valentina Mansour and Farrah Harris. I'm Chris Benson. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced on the campus of Madonna University. It is a pleasure to welcome the three of you to the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I could just feel like you're very excited, maybe a little nervous. Okay. So, Mike, tell us about Jamming with Jesus Catholic Academy.
Well, the Academy started a while ago. I used to do a program back in the early 2000s called Jamming with Jesus, and then it just developed into creating a whole academy based on that with the name title. It's high energy, it's music, it's, we teach the kids not only the Catholic side of things, but to always carry a song in their heart, and that is a song of Jesus, and carry that out in their everyday life. And I started back when I was 22, and here I am 40 years later at the age of 62, still going strong.
I was going to say that was probably just a couple years ago, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. And how did you get connected to this, Valentina?
So my sisters, I have two older sisters, and they went through catechism at St. Rene, and then we're in the youth group. So I was at I would go to catechism, and then I would see my sisters go to youth group every Sunday. And that's what I would always look forward to, like when I would grow up after catechism, is going to youth group. So that's how I got introduced to it.
Wow.
And my wife and I watched Valentina grow up with her older sisters, and we were like, oh, we got to stick around long enough to help Valentina and have her be part of our youth group. So it's such an honor to have her part of it now.
It's part of the family, right?
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. Okay, Farrah, tell us the story.
So actually, I've always gone to church, but I got baptized later, and after I got baptized, it just became a much bigger thing. And then this past year, I met Mike, and I went on the trip to Italy for the World Jubilee, and it was amazing. And I've just been very connected to God since.
Awesome. So I have to ask about the name, Jamming with Jesus. Tell us, where did this come from? I see the shirt.
So, like I said, it started out with a program I started many, many years ago. It was just called Jamming with Jesus. It was for junior high students, and it actually got so big that we had to stop doing it. And we would just gather 7th and 8th graders from all over the Archdiocese of Detroit. So then it kind of faded out, and then when we were kind of rebranding our catechism program and redoing things a little bit, we were trying to come up with a name, and it was actually the pastor that I had worked with. I worked with him for 30 years now. He said, Mike, why don't you just carry on the Jam with Jesus name to your program and just call it Jam with Jesus Catholic Academy, and it stuck, and that's who we are, and it's a name and an attitude.
Awesome. An attitude. Tell me about the attitude. What is the attitude?
The attitude is, like I just said, carrying a song of Jesus in your heart, always. And catechism programs are a lot about the nuts and bolts of the Catholic Church, but it's also about your personal relationship with Jesus and feeling him in your heart and carrying that into the relationships you share every day with your family, with your friends, and all the different organizations you belong to and things. So yeah, that's what it's about.
What has the group meant to you, Valentina and Farrah, being connected?
For me, it's just, like I said before, it's something I look forward to. So now, being a lot more involved, we do so many cool things and things that I would never think I would do, like some of the trips, some of the things that we do, just connecting them to our faith is pretty cool and exciting that, it's a little unexpected. So.
When you're younger, you go to church and you just see kind of like Mass and what's happening there. And then maybe you find as you get older, there's so much more going on that maybe you didn't realize when you were younger, and ways to connect, So I can hear that in your story of like seeing your sisters and then now you choosing to be part of it.
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay, what does this mean to you, Farrah, being part of this group?
Well, it just, like Valentina said, it's like I'm more connected, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of being more connected with God and my faith, but I also get to share that with the people around me. And the people around me have really helped in my journey with faith as well.
And you guys are both in high school, correct?
Yes.
Correct? Okay,
I'm
high school.
middle school.
Oh, middle school.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. So you're
Forgot about that.
again, yes, you're very mature. So you seem very mature.
Well, thank
So
you.
making those choices, I mean, you could choose to do a lot of different things with your time, and you're being very deliberate and intentional about your time. Is that always easy to make that choice for you? No?
Not for me.
No?
Not for me.
Tell me about
No.
that.
I have like a lot of different hobbies and passions, and I have a lot of different friends, and sometimes it's hard to focus on going to church every Sunday or even during the week sometimes, and staying connected when you have so many other things in your life that you could be doing instead. But yeah.
It's finding a place and knowing it's important, and then how do I manage all that? That's such a
Right.
big part of becoming an adult too, right?
Right.
And so trying to figure that out. We wrestle with those things too, even now. So how about you, Valentina?
Like Farrah said, I'm also busy. I'm very involved with my school
Yeah.
and my sports. So just finding the time for everything, it's a little rough, but it's so exciting, and I'm so grateful that I get to do. I also have time for all the fun activities and growth that we can have together at youth group.
Yeah.
Both of these young ladies also teach catechism, so that's wonderful.
Oh, so there's people that are probably your age or younger watching you, just like you were watching them, right?
Yeah.
And what's that like being a role model?
It's exciting for me, just kind of thinking back to when I was in catechism, and I feel like I always kind of thought that that's what I would do one day, would be a catechism teacher, and it came a lot sooner than I thought, but I enjoy it. I love working with kids, and just being able to guide them in their faith is something that I love to do.
Well, something that came sooner than I thought is this commercial break. So we have to do that. But when we come back, you're going to hear more from Mike, Valentina, and Farrah, and we're going to talk about St. Carlo Acutis. So stay tuned.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans.
These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids.
Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. But so is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, "Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna look up the symptoms." I said, "Your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance." So he said, "I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb." I said, "Well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson. We have a wonderful audience here today with us, as well as Youth Minister Mike Novak and Jamming with Jesus Academy members Valentina Mansour and Farrah Harris. We have not talked about the item that is on the table in front of us, and I would love for you to explain to our viewers who might not be familiar why it's so special, Mike.
Well, it's special in several ways. Number one, it is a first-class relic, meaning that it is a piece of the person, in this case, St. Carlo Acutis, a piece of a bone, a fragment of his hair. So when we bring this relic, when this relic is near us, you just feel it. You feel the spirit of Carlo through that. And for me, it's a huge teaching tool for young people, because I work with young people. And St. Carlo died at the age of 15. And he was into sports. He taught catechism with his mother. He was very, very, very close to the Eucharist. He had some incredible quotes about the Eucharist, that the Eucharist is our highway to heaven, things like that. And so in teaching young people, they, sometimes they have this thought that saints are 1,000 years ago, 100-year-old people, when they passed away. And here we have St. Carlo, who died at the age of 15 and did a lot of the very same things that, these young ladies and all the young people in our Catholic faith are doing in their everyday lives. So the relic is beautiful, and the spirit of Carlo is beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I understand in addition to this, we have some pictures that we're going to look at, and if you can explain what we're seeing when they come up on the screen, that would be wonderful, just to help us understand a little more.
So last week we had the relic at St. Rene Goupil, and this week it is at Our Lady of Good Counsel here in Plymouth,
right
and they were
nearby.
gracious enough to bring the relic for us to have with us today, so we thank them very, very much. So we just had it at our church, and these are just some pictures of the people gathering. As you can see, a lot of young people spent time with the relic. If you have a prayer card or a rosary or a medal, and you touch it to the relic, your item becomes a third-class relic. So a lot of people were doing that. We were actually giving out prayer cards and rosaries and medals, so you can see the people of all ages. We're all young at heart, and we're all honoring the relic in many, many different ways.
Oh, what a magical time that must have been, and to be there and to see people just having this reaction to it.
So many stories I could tell. One young man that was there, I talked to him afterwards for a little while, and he's actually going to be coming into the Catholic Church this Easter Vigil because of the time that he spent with the relic this weekend.
Oh, wow.
So incredible stories like that all throughout the weekend.
Farrah and Valentina, how did you come to be familiar with this story, and why is it special to you?
Through Mr. Novak. We did a little segment at catechism, so I was teaching, and even though it was more for the kids, I learned a lot about him. And then in Italy, it was a lot of what we talked about. And then, yeah, I guess that's just where it started.
So you actually got to go to Italy, and you can talk about, there might be people watching who don't understand a bit about his connection, so talk about that, because I know he's from Italy, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And he was originally supposed to be canonized, right before our trip when we got a new pope, so that changed things a little bit, and he ended up being canonized in September of 2025.
And I see some pictures on the screen. This looks like Italy. I have been to Assisi in Rome. No, it's not.
It's not.
So what is this?
That is a mountain in Alaska.
Oh my gosh, so you all have been to multiple places.
Yeah.
So this youth group is taking you all over the world. This is very exciting.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So tell me about that. You went there as well.
Yeah, that was my first youth group trip. So a lot of what we did was we did a lot of sessions, and they'd be in the most random places. So so a lot of what we did was climbing mountains or glaciers, and this high mountain that we climbed was with another youth group, and they were very excited. And when we got to the top, there were a lot of people taking pictures, and we all, took in the view. And then they suggested that we lead a rosary, so I did lead the rosary with them.
Wow.
And she was like the second youngest person on that trip with us.
Oh my gosh, that
what
had
an
to
example.
take some courage. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Farrah, what do you know about Carlos Acutis, and how did you come to know it?
I came to know him by Mike, actually. We learned it I learned about him like last year before we went to Italy, and I knew like he was very young and he like moved so many people, and I thought that was amazing because I like that inspired me and made me think like I'm young and I can still move people. So
yeah, it's amazing the influence. You know, many times maybe when you're your age, you think, gosh, you know, I have to wait until later to be able to accomplish things. And it sounds like both of you have had such wonderful, rich experiences to realize that like I can influence people at any time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, awesome. So, Mike, what does this mean to you?
Well, it means his spirit is alive everywhere we look, in these young people and in all the trips we take and all the things we do in our program, in Our Lady of Good Counsel this week. You know, everything is just rejuvenated through the presence of St. Carlo Acutis in our midst.
Yeah. To have a modern day saint, right?
And it's just, yeah.
I too remember, you know, getting prayer cards, and you know, there's the saints, and they always looked a lot older than I was, and they were from like the Middle Ages or what have you, you know, and it's hard to connect, you know, and think like, oh gosh, you know, how can I possibly be the same? But through someone that's had so much in common with you, it feels very easy and accessible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't believe it's time for another break. It's going by so fast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We will be back very soon, and stay tuned.
Nice. No. Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Welcome home, man.
Maria, so how's work?
It was fourth period biology. Our students just weren't getting how easily viruses spread. So Miss Bell and I had them role play a zombie virus outbreak. By the time they had all learned the lesson, all the living were dead. Hey, how's your job going?
That big sales meeting I planned? Next year, I might get to go.
Cool.
I want to see the world.
When you pick up a book,
I used to read every night to all the younger kids.
And let your imagination break free, you won't believe how much fun it can be.
Let down your house.
Experience a world of adventure, excitement, and endless possibilities. Get tangled up in a good book. Explore new worlds. Read. Visit read.gov today.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and once again, I'm joined by Jamming with Jesus youth minister Mike Novak and two very excited members, Valentina Mansour and Farrah Harris. And we're going to start, Farrah, with a story because I understand that you feel like your connection to this group has really helped you just take on things you might not have done before.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, it definitely is. since I joined this group, I feel like I'm more outgoing and I'm more confident in the things I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And I believe there's a picture. Oh my gosh, what are we looking at in this picture here?
So when I was in Italy, we did Mass in Pisa, and Mike came up to me. We had already sat down, and Mike came up to me and he was like, "Do you want to altar serve?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And so he took me back and I got ready and we went out and I altar served with 4 other boys, and honestly, it was probably like one of my top 5 best experiences. I got to talk with the other boys I altar served with, and they were so polite and nice to me, and they were very interested in my life, and it was awesome.
Wow, so to another country. Had you ever been to Italy before?
No, so this trip had been my first youth group trip, first like being out of the state and out of the country.
Time away from home.
Yeah,
and so
everything.
How are you different after having done something like that?
Like I had said before, I'm more confident. I believe in myself more. I think I can do more. Instead of second guessing myself, I just do it now.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I'm so glad people watching can hear that. Thanks for sharing that courage.
Of course.
And she did that at the age of 13.
Wow,
Yes.
look at what's possible,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Who knows where it'll go from here?
I know.
Mike, what are some of your favorite memories or just experiences of being part of this?
Well, I've been all over the world, so I believe faith can take us places we never dreamed of going, and that's true for me because I've been to World Youth Day with the Pope in many, many different countries. And so many things we've done have changed our group and changed me and changed the world. Probably my favorite story is when we were in Germany. We stayed with a parish in Oberhausen, and one day they wanted to feed, they wanted us to help them feed homeless people. And it's just a smaller group, but they decided to see if they could feed a bigger portion of the map on that day. We were in Oberhausen, and so we said we would help them. We set it up. We fed over 500 people that day, and when we were getting ready to leave, the Bishop of Cologne said he was coming to visit that parish. And he did, and the reason he was coming was to tell that parish he was not going to close them because they were going to close after World Youth Day.
Wow.
And he decided to keep that parish open because of all the work we were doing. And right before he left, they were taking pictures of him on the altar, and he said, no, bring up the Crazy Americanos, because that's our group's name that we're known all over the world as the Crazy Americanos. And he wanted to take a picture with us in our red, white, and blue tie-dyes. And so what a beautiful moment. And then, yeah. So many great memories from all the countries I've been to, and a lot of what we do is based on service. We do service work. Our upcoming trip this summer, we're going, it's called Mission Texas. We're doing service projects in 13 different states on our way to and from Texas.
Wow.
We're very different, we're very creative, very innovative in what we do. So
I understand there's dancing involved as well.
These girls danced all over Italy. Oh my goodness. The whole group, talk about the spirit being alive and them saying, oh, look at this American spirit.
Definitely moved you, huh?
The night we saw the Pope, got this close to the Pope twice on 2 occasions. And the girls, they do this dance. It's called the church clap. And they wanted to do it right there in the Vatican. They did. Oh, wow. Then the next day, they did it in a water fountain in front of one of the cathedrals. They did it at the town square in Pisa. And then one time we were just waiting in line and they just did this dance and people joined in, and it was amazing. One of them put together a montage of all of them and all the different settings. They did this dance called the church clap, and it's just, that's their spirit that's alive in the world. It's very contagious, very, very contagious.
Farrah, what would you say to maybe someone your age who's watching right now and they just don't feel real connected to a group or a community or to their faith? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would probably just say, just put yourself out there, honestly. I was, like I had said, I'm now very much outgoing and I feel more confident, and I didn't feel that way before, but the only way I could feel that way was because I did put myself out there and I wasn't afraid to.
Awesome. All right, Valentina, same question for you. As you think about people, at your age and they're at a big time in their life, high school is big, right? Like, there's a lot of decisions you can make. What advice would you give to anybody watching who's just not feeling very connected?
Similar to Farrah, I'd say putting yourself out there, and you never know what could happen. I never thought, even though I saw my sisters and what they would do, I never thought that I would experience any of the things I've experienced, and just to kind of go with the flow, and everything will work out the way it's supposed to, and just, you know, just like she said, just find a group of people that you connect with, and then just take it from there.
All right, Mike, what do you see in the future for this organization?
So many things. First of all, I think like a year and a half ago, you two did not even know each other.
Yeah.
So they have only recently met. I know it doesn't seem like it, and they're a cornerstone of our group.
Awesome.
But what's coming ahead, was that the
Yeah,
question?
what's the future hold?
So let's go back a month. We had a retreat in January, and we have crazy retreats. Our senior class leads it, and we always do a crazy opening. We brought all the kids there. They had to put on full body suits, masks, and goggles, and they threw paint at each other to decorate their shirts. But in Lent this season, we're doing something very special. That we're very innovative. Like I said, we lead the Stations of the Cross on a Friday night, like most churches do. But in the middle of that, Valentina is going to lead a communion service after the 12th station of Jesus dying on the cross, and we are actually going to give out communion during the Stations of the Cross.
Wow.
Very, very different and creative.
I can just feel the energy coming from you and the love, and it's been wonderful having you here today. Where can people find you online if they're looking for you? How can they find you?
JWJ Catholic.Academy.
Okay.
That's us.
There it is. Thanks so much for joining us on the
Thank
show
you.
today and
Thank you.
sharing your faith and your excitement for life. We've loved having you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes. And thank you for helping us celebrate all the great things happening in Michigan. We'll see you next time.